This is Kathy Chase. There have been many variables that have gone into um, the destruction of outsiders to my life. um, Prior to 2005, I didn't have a lot of fame, and a lot of people didn't know who I was. And I presume that was part of the sabotage, is to attack me before I knew, of course. And there's evidences that they wanted to play a game with my life, in which they had no legal right to do. They wanted to play some music game with my life that they had no right to do. Evidences on the Farley side of the family. Well, the Farley's family, I don't know if Rich Farley still owns it, but he owned the Hurricane. And then I don't know where they get the Hurricane. I get Charlie Starkweather, and I get caning people. And the Farley family, with, as I said, they go to Hawaii and they go to Colorado, directly related to Obama. Now, as I said, they took my life, which had already had problems, and manipulated many problems along the years leading up to this point. The sabotage of making me more famous, because I didn't know. And they basically, the phrase that goes along with making mountains out of molehills, there were a lot of problems there before, but they, the amount of people that knew about me before 2005 were not that many. And I guess that was part of their plan, to want to hurt other people using my life, because they didn't want to help me. They had ulterior motives for my life, and I didn't give consent to any of this. I'm not their music game. I'm not their game of musical chairs or the wall or whatever they want to claim, because you can't do that to people. And even music that they've used before my time, and movies and so forth. I don't appreciate them sabotaging my life more and more and more and more. The gradual sabotage placed upon my life to incur upon my rights and the privacy of my life. It's not my fault they don't have compassion for people as individuals to live their lives the way they want to live their lives, and not think that they think that they can plan other people's lives is not only sick, it's wrong. It's an atrocity what they've done to my life. And I was talking to my counselor, which she happens to look a lot like Christy Hubert. Her name's Lynn Buchanan. And I said to her, I was talking to her, and I said, well, why can't people just stop what they're doing? They've broken laws. Why don't they just stop? And then I said, I've never lived a normal life, and I want to live a normal life. And why don't these people just stop what they're doing? Stop what they're doing. Learn to have some compassion for what they've done wrong. I think they're worried about it catching up to them, of all the things they've done wrong to my life. And the simplest thing, it would be just to reconcile with what you've done wrong, and to repent your sins against me. I'm not your personal Jesus, and I'm not even Jesus, and relent from wanting to hurt somebody who is harmless, who only wants to have her birth given right to live a normal life, just like everybody else. What has happened to my life is taboo by, I would say, most of the religions. I consider it taboo. Trying to mess with somebody else's fate, taboo, and to continue to abuse them for that, that's beyond morally wrong and inhumane, and they're at fault more than I am, and I shouldn't have to suffer because of that. Well, the other thing she said, I said, well, it appears people are trying to pay money to get me hurt. And she goes, oh, well, yeah, well, if you have a lot of money, you can evidently surpass laws. I'm like, well, no, you can't. She's like, well, yeah, that's what they're, basically telling me, yeah, that's what they're doing. They're using money to have people ignore the laws. I'm like, what are you talking about? You can't do that. That's not American. And I don't know who Lynn Buchanan talks to, but she obviously knows who's paying who and so forth, or trying to pay for my life. And I'm just thinking, rather than waste all this stupid money, rather than people being selfish and thoughtless, and controlling, you would think that they would not waste so much money on trying to pay people to look away or whatever. You'd think that they would show some responsibility and be humane and put their own feelings aside, and they know they're at fault because they knew I didn't have all this fame until recent years, and basically when they put me in they messed up my life, and they want me to have to suffer and pay for it, and that's their thinking. Because the people, the small amount of people that knew about me before 2005 is obviously, just a molehill compared to now. And it's still simple. Things still are simple. For those that want to make things difficult, that's not my problem. And you can't own my life. Presidents can't own my life. It doesn't matter how much money you spend. You're wasting money, and so are these other people, if that's who I'm thinking are doing it. And you can't buy somebody's life, because I've never killed anybody. There's no way you can manipulate trying to get me killed, because I don't kill people. I don't hurt people. And to be so controlling and so wanting to use dictator rule over somebody's life here in America, that's just so wrong. I'm a mother of 3 children. I have 3 children to raise. And they don't appreciate what you've done to their lives because of what you wanted to do, or what your goals were with my life, no matter who you are. I'm not a threat. And, as I said, the fact that there's been famous people and presidents around that I've never met, and that's been a lot of my problem indirectly, because I would say more so the presidents never wanted to know me, but but I think maybe there might have been famous people that might have wanted to know me, or something along those lines at some time in my life, Whether they do or not now, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know. It's just the fact that I think that's been a problem because of people wanting to cause all this pits process. And they've done it with my family. They've done it with, of course, the people who initiated it were Southeast people, I guess, and or whatever. People know who did what. And no matter what the case is, you can spend as much money as you want, but you still can't buy my rights and my life out from underneath me. I'm not a slave. And it's sick for people to think that they want to have the upper hand on my life to decide my fate, which is taboo as it is. What you've done to my life is against, religious abuse, spiritual abuse, social abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse. Do you ever stop and say enough's enough? And why didn't you just use that money that you've been so malicious, people that have maliciously used that money, why haven't you focused on problem solving and being nice and using tasteful and tactful methods to try to help versus to hurt? This is your game. The politicians, I presume, because, well, they can't own me, and I presume this is, this is the politicians' thing. Why they would want to come along and bother me for things I didn't know about, for things I'm not responsible for, and then manipulate, putting me in a more compromising position than I've ever been in my life. That's not my fault. And vulnerable. I'm vulnerable. I have no money. I don't know why they'd want to take advantage of a mother and her 3 children. I'm not... How can I go up against people who have made money off of my life to want to hurt me when there's no reason to hurt me, versus to do what would be right in the matters? Whether they don't have to know me then. If I get medical help, then those people that don't want to know who I am or don't want me and want to ever know me or didn't ever want to know me would never have to have known me. They could forget about me. They can pretend that I'm dead, but I don't have to actually physically die for people to get sick satisfaction out of first ruining my life for their own, whatever they wanted to do, and then kill me because they set out to ruin my life or whatever. But things are simple. I don't kill people. I don't premeditate things, and I just want a normal life. And I'm not a vengeful person. I'm not that kind of person, and I'm not. I just want a normal life so bad. That's all I want. A simple, just like I see everybody taking their kids to and from school, and people go on to their jobs, and I collect money from government right now, not a lot, but I only get I get less than $700 a month. Not enough to live on, but at this point, and the only reason why I collect SSI, which has nothing to do with shipping off people, it's supplemental income. The only reason why I collect that is because I have to spend all my time worrying about other people trying to hurt me. If I didn't have to worry about all this stuff that I shouldn't have to worry about, I could have a career. I want to go back to school. I want to do there's things I want to do with my life, but I have to worry about people in my business. This is my business. This is my life. I have the legal right to get medical help, but I shouldn't have to worry about mafia techniques and people trying to have ownership, trying to have illegal ownership onto my life, and people who only think of themselves first. And I'm asking you to stop and to think about things. The fact that I've never lived a normal life. Why don't you just put all the past 30 years aside and stop and think that I have never lived a normal life? Could you imagine not ever having the opportunity to live your own life and to think, for yourself and only for yourself, and to think, to decide your own fate in life? My life isn't here for other people to dictate or own or to, disperse of how they feel, I don't hurt people. I don't do anything wrong. I'm a good person, and I want a normal life, raising my children, and I wish people would just back off and not and look at the reality and just think about, this is a human life that other people have taken into their own hands and did all this weird stuff to, and I don't know why they'd want to subject a person, especially in the year 2012, to such outrageous circumstances in front of the public. This is archaic. This is something you don't do. And what I'm asking for is simple. And you don't have to be intimidated by it, and you don't have to worry about, think of revenge and all this other stuff. I think people could accuse me of having anxiety. I don't have anxiety. I think the other people have anxiety because they knew they did me wrong. And my only message to them is that if you've done me wrong in the past, the best thing you can do is to stop and frickin' look for your conscience and say, it's not right to try to own people's lives and dictate people's lives and want to have the upper hand. Everybody was put here to be able to live their own life, and I'm not here for any particular persons to want to debate my life, which is none of their business, and to have an upper hand or control or treat me as if they own me. I'm a human being. I want a normal life. I want to raise my children. And that is so simple.